So what happened when you went to your Chinese doctor?
So I went to the Chinese doctor, and he was just a tiny little fella, right? And while I was there, he asked me, he goes, "Chris, are you allergic to anything?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, "What are you allergic to?" And I'm like, "Oh, bullets." And then he goes, "Well, if you don't make any more shit jokes like that, we don't have anything to worry about, do we?"
Did you say foot?
Hey?
Did you say foot?
What? Bullets?
Oh,
Bullets. I'm allergic to bullets. Yeah, he can give
Bullets.
me the foot. Like, yeah, boom, allergic to foots as well.
He said, did you get it now?
Oh, of course I did.
Oh, yeah, if you have to explain the joke, it just gets ruined, eh?
No, but I didn't I heard foot, not bullets.
Well, that's
I
because
get
you're being a foot doctor right now, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking about my feet.
I'm allergic to foot.
You're allergic to foot.
Speaking of Chinese doctors, there's a bloke went to Hong Kong. He'd never had an Asian girl. Anyway, the next morning it's turned green. And he goes
What, his old fella?
Yeah.
Why are you filming his old fella? You don't film his old fella, he's a married man, eh?
And he goes to his mate who'd lived in Hong Kong for a while. He said, "What am I going to do?" He said, "I'll take you to the English doctors. They've been here for a couple of 100 years. He'll know." And so he goes, "Oh, dear old chap, you have classic case of Hong Kong dong. He'll have to come off, I'm afraid." And he says, "Shit." He goes back to his mate. His mate's, he said, "I'm not having it off." And the bloke said, "Oh, well, the Yanks have been here for a long, long time. They've got the latest technology. We'll go to America." "Ah, see, son, what we got here is a classic case of the Hong Kong dong. It's got to come off, boy." No, it's not. He goes back to his mate. His mate says, "Chinese doctor. We'll go to a Chinese doctor. They know everything about any disease." So he goes to the Chinese doctor. The Chinese doctor says, classic case of a Hong Kong dong. No worry, no worry." And he says, "What? Hasn't got to come off?" No. 3 weeks, it drop off.
Chinese delicacy.
Foot. Bullet.
This is for diabetes. He puts the cream in there so they don't crack. And then the podiatrist doesn't get as upset. So I've got all dirt on my feet from being out near the smoker. I forget to do it, so Dad does it to make sure I don't forget.
My dad does it so you don't whinge.
Is it going to fall off?
3 week. 3 week, it dropped. Allergic to bullets.
Are you going out, Richie?
What? No.
Going out.
No. We're smoking with the smoker.
I've got a story to tell you about South Africa.
Bloody sappers.
I had this mate at school. He left school at the age of 15 because his father had died when he was young. The mother had remarried, and he was an invalid. So was she.
Is this a true story?
Yeah.
So it's not a joke? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. And he was determined to become a carpenter. And so he got an apprenticeship at the age of 15, and within a very short time he became apprentice of the year. Of course, that was Jim. Jim always wanted to be the very best at anything, table tennis, anything.
You sure this isn't a joke?
No.
This is fair income?
Yeah.
Rightio.
Yeah. Anyway, I lost sight of him, and I ran into him about 3 years later, and he'd not only become a qualified carpenter who became a clerk of works, which meant major constructions, you see. And
What about his ping pong career? How did that kick off?
oh,
Didn't go anywhere?
no, that wasn't the point. The point with that was he always wanted to be the best of everything he tried it.
Yeah.
The best he could be.
Yeah.
And anyway, he became a clerk of works, and again I lost sight of him. And I bumped into him in Canberra. I said, "Good day, Jim." Jim was about 28 at the time. And I said, "What are you doing here in Canberra?" He said, "Oh, I've just finished building the Woden Plaza." And the Woden Plaza is like the plaza down here, you know, the one in Maroochydore. So like that, he built that, including, you know, a 17-storey building and, you know, all of the car parks, everything. He built that. And the price tag at the time, this is years ago, was $13 million. And I said, "That's $13 million. He said, "It's nothing." He said, "I've just finished the Yarn Smuts International Airport, $400 million. He built the Yarn Smuts International Airport. I know it's been renamed.
Yeah, I gave up on the ping pong.
He gave up on the ping.
Oh, bugger.
He actually was telling me that he played a game of international rugby while he was over there, because some of his mates played for this team, whatever it was, and they got crook on the bus, so they gave him a jumper. He went out and played international rugby.
This is the guy that married one of the De Beers Diamonds.
Yeah, he
Girls.
married one of the De Beers.
My mum was engaged to, I think, the guy, the CEO of the second largest diamond firm. But before he even went down that path, like he was a mineralogist or whatever. And then they got engaged, but apparently the story goes he clubbed her one and she didn't like that too much. And I'm like, what?
So is he from De Beers Diamonds as well?
I can't remember. I can find out. I can call her up and find out. But I know it's meant to be like the second largest one in the world. But I do remember he said when he went through his divorce, it was like, I don't know, $400 million to get the divorce. And he's like, yeah, he's never going to get married again after that. I'm like, far out, man. You know, I'd marry you for like $400 million.
Rod Stewart.
Not true.
Rod Stewart, what he said was, when I come back, you know, when I die and come back, I'm going to find every woman I hate and give her a house. He's had so many women he's had to give houses to.
Ah, true.
Yeah.
Well, Richie, you told me that before, didn't you?
What?
That same joke?
With Rod Stewart?
Or was that your dad you told me
I
that?
think Dad told you,
Oh,
probably. All right.